Hi guys, I am in Ljubljana. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's in Slovenia. The place is beautiful, though you can't see much of it because it's foggy, but what you can see is this. I'm here for the European media launch of the brand new, all new 2022 Nissan X-Trail. Now this is the fourth generation of the car. The car is a massively important one for Nissan. They've sold 7 million of these over the 3 generations prior to this one. And in the UK alone, they've sold nearly 140,000 of these, so and a significant proportion of European sales. It's a completely new ground up design. The key thing of why it took, for example, this is known as the Nissan Rogue in America. It was launched about a year ago there. Why did it take a year and a bit to launch it in Europe? Because they were waiting for eForce. What is eForce? Well, we'll come to that in a minute. It's part of the drivetrain system. But the key facts about this car is the new design, the fact that it is the only 7-seater electrified SUV in its segment. In fact, all of the range is now electrified. You get a mild hybrid, then you get the e-Power, again, I'll come to that in a minute, and then you get the e-Power e-Force. The key things to note here is the V-Motion grille, the much more bluffer, upright, taller, more imposing front end of this car, and we'll come around to the side. So by the way, and I should have mentioned that they've got the adaptive grilles, so that's kind of, it opens and closes, and these are actually functioning as well. So not only do they give it a presence, but they actually improve the airflow around the car because you've got a big bluff front end. So to improve the aerodynamics, they've got functioning air vents around here. You'll notice quite a bit of clearance between the tire and the wheel arch. And again, that's quite deliberate, not only to give it that movement as you often get in 4x4 SUVs, but to actually give it that look and give it that feel of being a rugged off-roader sort of thing. I'm not saying that you should go overlanding in deep deserts and over forests and stuff like that, but this is a car that, as we may find later on, should hopefully get you where you need to go in any terrain and condition. They have kind of slimmed the side of the car by using this inset here, and so another very interesting feature is what they call the dolphin rear fin on the C-pillar. Now, the other interesting thing to say about this car is that, oh, by the way, it goes on sale now. Its first deliveries will start in October. Is the drivetrain. Now again, because I'm on a media launch, what I'll do is I'll put the details on the screen so you can see them there, but there's various different specs. The thing to know is you get the mild hybrid, it's about 163 horsepower, and then you get the e-Power. Now the e-Power, what that is basically like a series hybrid. It's a range extender hybrid. So basically you have an engine in the car, but the wheels are driven by an electric motor. This is how that actually works. And when you move on to e-Force, which is actually spelled E hyphen the number 4 and then O-R-C-E, what that actually means is a dual motor setup. So that's what gives it its all-wheel drive. And that's about 213 horsepower, 330 Newton meters of torque. That makes this car, which is of course the e-Force, the quickest in the range as well. It does 0 to 62 miles per hour in 7 seconds. It gives you the benefit of power, off-road capability, but still giving you that really good economy figure and the low emissions. Right, let's take a look at the boot. We'll take a look at the rear space. In fact, we might have a quick look at the third row of seats as well, the front, and then of course, we'll take it for a drive. Right, so let's have a look at the boot space on this thing. Now, the remarkable thing about this car, as I said, it comes as a 5-seater, but you get the 7-seat option. Now, you only pay another £1,000. I would say that's well worth getting because, for the usability and the functionality of having those extra seats, it's worth it, right? Now, even Nissan say that they're occasional seats. They are designed to accommodate human beings of up to 160 centimeters. So I would say for children or not shorter people, if you like, for shorter distances. However, that's useful. Having said that, you're wondering how did they manage to get 3 rows of seats into a vehicle which is electrified? Where are the batteries, for example? Well, the important thing to know about the new X-Trail is that it was designed from the ground up to be an electrified vehicle. So it was always meant to have that. And so as such, the batteries are in the floor. So it was designed to have the batteries in the floor, thereby clearing up the space inside here to have that capacity. Now, what does that mean? That means you've got a remarkable 585 litre boot here. So this is actually actually quite capacious and quite usable. What you have here is a little compartment with a tire repair kit. You've got a little pocket there, a little pocket there. You've got light, you've got power supply, you've got a cover for it, and you've got the split folding seats. Now the split folding seats are actually 60-40 or 40-20-40. So you've got the armrest goes down, so you can put longer items in there, skis or stuff that you've bought from IKEA and stuff like that. You can just shove it in there. Now with these seats, these actually are the seats back here, and it's just a case of pulling this tab to pull the seats up. Now they look pretty good, they look comfortable enough. I am not going to attempt to get into them because I know I won't fit at 6'2" with long legs. However, it seems that they could be quite usable. You can see that the backrest comes quite far into the cabin, but it does clear the space because of the window is inset. So that seems reasonable. They're very nicely quilted. They look fantastic, just like the rest of it. Talking of which, let's get into the rear and see what it's like inside. Here we go inside the Nissan X-Trail, and look at this, it's very nicely done. Like I said, the stitching on the seats is fantastic. It's got this sort of very specific laser technique that it uses to actually do the stitching so that it clears the gaps and makes it look really, really perfect as it does. The thing to say about this car, now this being a left-hand drive car, I've obviously gotten into the passenger side. So because what I normally do is get into the driver's side behind my seating position, but this is a static display car. Having said that, I have gotten into the front of this side, and I fit perfectly in there, which is to say that there's loads of room in the front, and therefore there is actually loads of room here in the back. Because again, like I said, 6'2", long legs, and as you can see, my knees don't even touch the seat. Plenty of room for my shins down there, and room to wiggle my feet as well. So actually quite comfortable, lots of headroom space as well, plenty of shoulder room, and actually I think you could probably have 3 people in here quite comfortably. 2 would be very comfortable indeed. You have a decent high seating position, so good vantage point. You almost have that theatre sort of effect, so you appear to be slightly higher back here, which again, if you have claustrophobia and stuff like that, that's really, really helpful. Now there is a seat, there is an armrest. I believe that that's probably how you do it, and in that you get a couple of cup holders, a little slot there. There you can see the rear seat, which I left up. And down here you've got vents, you've got heated seats, and 2 USB-C plugs, plus I think you've got a climate control there, temperature control as well for the rear compartment. Very nicely done. I should also mention that you've got the built-in blinds, which are always handy for children, and you've got the panoramic glass sunroof as well. Again, this is a top spec car, but you know what, if you're spending that amount of money, you might as well get as much kit as you can. So really, really nice, comfortable back here. What's it like in the front? Well, it's time to find out, and I think I'll get into the correct side this time. Wow. Check this out. Now this is quite fancy, isn't it? Check this out. This looks pretty cool in here. Again, those wonderful seats. Now this brighter color of spec, I should say, these are on the demo cars, including the champagne exterior bodywork, which, you know, for the day I'm calling the brown car for the brown car guy. But this stuff necessarily is available as an option in the UK, but most people go for darker interior, I'm led to understand. But having said that, it looks really good, and I think it makes the car feel more spacious and certainly more luxurious. I'd go for this if you can. There you can see a little bit of wood trim, which is very appropriate to where we are because it's a very rustic environment. But again, it's just to give you that idea of this being an adventuring car, of a car that, you know, you can overland in, you can tour in and stuff like that. Sitting up here, loads of space. Again, you know, as I said, in the back, in the front, tons of room. I can really stretch out my legs. I've got adjustability on the steering, got plenty of reach, loads of headroom, plenty of room here. Seats are very comfortable. I already drove the car a bit yesterday and found it to be a very comfortable experience. Massive screen here, it's got a heads-up display as well. The functionality and usability of this car is something that they focus a lot on. So for example, they talk about the cubby box having the butterfly opening doors. Now, why do they have that? There's a specific reason, because as they point out that within a family environment, if you're reaching in there to get stuff and you have a lid that opens this way, then you've actually blocked the rear passengers from getting access to that. By doing it this way, anybody from the back or whatever can reach in and get what is actually quite a deep cubby box there to get whatever it is that they need. In addition to that, you've got the cup holders there, you've got a wireless charging pad there, you've got USB big one there as well, another power supply start. This has got the all-terrain system, so for off-roading and everything. Now the E-Force which I was going to tell you about, is basically, like I said, the front has got a front motor and a rear motor, so it's got a dual motor setup. But it has, in addition to providing good off-roading, and as we'll see when we take it for a drive, it gives you good on-road grip, handling, and even the ride, because of the way that they are able to control each of the wheels. So it's kind of like a torque vectoring effect. So let's say the handling and stability around corners on the E-Force is considerably better, according to Nissan, than the regular car. So you've got the automatic, you've got your gear lever there, e-pedal. So e-pedal, because the idea with this car is to pretty much simulate an EV, because effectively that's what's doing the driving. The engine there is only to charge up the batteries, and the engine is a linear tune, variable compression ratio engine, which is designed to work at optimum the whole time. And what it does is that basically it kind of syncs its rev, or the engine revving, to how much throttle, and it even does that when you're stationary, which I'll try and show you later on. And just to give you the impression that you're using the engine, but you're not. You're actually using the electric motors to drive the car. So with e-pedal, you get the same effect that you get in an EV, where when you lift off, on this particular car, you get up to 0.02 G of deceleration. That also gives a little bit of regen as well. You can go into full EV mode there, fully functional steering with all the remotes and everything like that. The rest, I think we need to take it for a drive and see what it's like on the road, and perhaps off the road as well. Okay, so let's take this for a drive. It's straightforward automatic. We've got it in, I think it's in normal mode. Okay, it's in, I'll put it into standard mode for now. So this is the car that basically it's got, this is the full spec car. It's a top of the range car. So it's got the e-power, which is, ignore her, she's going to cut in from time to time because we're obviously on a route here. And we're on a press drive route, and it's being navigated for us. So it's got a motor on the front, motor on the back. It's all-wheel drive in essence. They say that it's not only useful for off-roading, but also useful for on-road grip, handling, dynamics, and the ride. Now, one thing I gotta say is that already we've been very impressed with the ride of this thing, because it's normally with these cars you get a kind of stiffness and a kind of, you know, rigidity because of the fact that the batteries are in the floor pan. But this one's been really good. It's this top spec car, it's riding on 20-inch wheels. The ride has been very smooth, very compliant, it's very well damped, and no discomfort whatsoever. So I think that's one of the really strong plus points on this car, is the ride. And we've been on some pretty rough roads as well. We've been up a mountain with some really rough, sort of shattered, kind of cracked paving, and it was fine. Additionally, I would say that we got to throw the car around a little bit on that road because there were some tight hairpin bends and stuff like that. And again, the stability of the car, again with that idea of looking after your family, looking after the passengers, looking after the people that may be sitting in the third row seat.
Turn right after 300 meters.
Trying to ensure that they don't get woozy or sick and stuff like that. And I think in that sense, it seems to do the job really well. So moving on to the actual driving of the car. The steering, of course, is lifeless, but it's very light, it's very easy, and it's generally, you know, responsive. And there's no question about what it's doing or whether it's going to perform faithfully or not. All of that is fine. There isn't any feedback, there isn't any engagement. But then again, this is not a sports car. It's not meant to be, and it's not trying to be. And I think that's pretty evident, and it's one of the things that it's being honest about. But having said that, I mean, it's a substantially quick car for something that's so big and so, I'm imagining, quite heavy. A quoted time of 0 to 62 miles per hour in 7 seconds is pretty impressive. Also, that benefits from the fact that it is drives as an EV, and it's benefiting from the electric motors. So there is that sort of linear delivery that you get with an electric car, and you do sort of find that in this as well. So I open it up a little bit, and it does one of these things where you can hear the engine. So the engine note is responding to the throttle input. So it's kind of like simulated sound, really. So you get this sense that you're driving a full petrol car, whereas in fact the drive is electric. Now, it's kind of surreal a little bit, in the sense that the response that you're getting from the throttle pedal and the engine, the correlation between that, it's not quite as you would expect it to be, or not quite as you would imagine it to be, you know, after history of driving, you know, internal combustion engine cars. But it does a good job of mimicking that, so it gives you that impression. So I know that Nissan say this is a transitional technology, so this is something that's designed to make you start to feel like you're moving towards an EV future. And the idea of this is the fact that, you know, you have the benefits.
300 meters, leave the roundabout at the second exit.
That you have the benefits of driving an EV, including the fuel economy, and of course the low emissions, and the advantages, facts that you're trying to help the environment and stuff. But at the same time, you're carrying an engine around with you, which is charging it up.
Roundabout at the second exit.
Which means that therefore there's the convenience of not having to stop and charge, and all that sort of stuff. So we also have one pedal mode, which is, oh wow, that works straight away. So, you know, the e-pedal mode as it's called, and that sort of again mimics the idea in an electric car where you can drive a lot of electric cars on one pedal. So basically you barely need to use the brake, you can lift off the accelerator and the car will slow down. And again with this one, that's quite substantial. It's 0.2 G of deceleration, as I said, and yes, you can feel it. Now it won't stop the car, it brings the car to what Nissan describe as creeping speed. That's the idea for that. There's various other modes on this as well. So we've got the eco mode, which I'm not going to use, because why? And then there's the sport mode, which, you know, I'm not sure that it has a lot of benefit, but because the car is set up so well already, and because the performance delivery is more than adequate. But actually, let's go into sports mode now. What have we gone into off-road? There's off-road, snow, standard, eco, and sport. So we are in sport now. I guess I just maybe felt a slight tightening up of the steering there, but nothing too significant. The e-pedal mode is still on. Actually, let's just leave the e-pedal on. Now, this is one of those cars that actually, they say that it's supposed to corner tighter because of the torque vectoring kind of effect that the dual motor e-power system has. And it certainly feels stable and certainly feels secure. And we were on some quite tight roads earlier on, and you know, you could guide it through the corners quite easily and it wouldn't be an issue. It's fairly faithful. It's something that, you know, you think that, well, okay, it will do it, it will corner quickly, it will handle those sort of roads, but it's not necessarily something.
Arrive at your intermediate destination on the left after 200 meters.
But it's not necessarily something that you want to be doing, because again, this is very much designed and engineered and developed as a family car, you know, from the ground up, from the get-go. I mean, it is the X-Trail.
Your intermediate destination is located on the left.
So it's all about making sure that it's
Turn
comfortable,
right.
rather than, you know, performance orientated. So to give it its due, I think, you know, the car is fit for purpose, so to speak. The visibility all around is very good, not an issue. I mean, we have 360 camera on this thing. The heads-up display really helps to keep your eye on the road. It's a massive, over 10 inches, so it's huge, it's full color. You get the sat nav on there as well, but then you've got the big screen here, and you've got a big instrument, configurable instrument panel in front of you as well. So a lot of display going on. When you're in the car, you look behind, you can see it's a big car because it's quite far back to that rear window. But having said that, it's not really any kind of an issue. And like I said, with the parking camera and the 360 camera, you don't really feel that it's a big problem. The size of the car, it is substantial, and we are on some small roads, so you do feel that it's a big thing. But having said that, it's fairly easy to place. I mean, again, because they've gone for that traditional SUV kind of design where it's got the upright front and the fenders and stuff, you can actually see from the driving seat, I can see the right fender, so I can see clearly the extremities of the car. So that all kind of helps. So turn the e-pedal mode off now just to go into normal, and again, braking is very good. There's, again, not a lot of fuel through the brakes, but the brakes are something that they're reassuring. You don't have to hit them very hard because they are, from the get-go, straight away, the moment you start to apply them, they are very effective. I don't know if that's a combination of the regen as well as actual braking going on, but it seems to be very, very effective, and the feel and the way that they've modulated them seems to be very good. Punching it out of a roundabout there, and you can hear the engine, you can hear the sort of revs building up on that side. Acceleration is pretty good. I wouldn't say that it's like neck snapping, but it's impressive for something of this size. It'd be interesting to see with, you know, with all the passengers loaded up, how the car feels, but, you know, I imagine it'll be more than enough. And, you know, you don't need to be going that quickly in something like this. So whilst we're negotiating some roads here, which are quite entertaining actually, we also had a chance to take it off-road, and here's some of the impressions of what that was like. So this is the torque vectoring that's happening, keeping all the wheels going. Right. So we're on a sort of a step thing where the wheels are going like this, you know.
That's right. It works, huh?
Yeah, it works.
So look, go left, please.
Go left. What angle is this?
30 kilometers.
No, what's the angle?
30
30 degrees?
degrees.
Yeah, alright, it's just 30 degrees. We've just gone around that. That's always weird. Right, which way? This way?
The whole roundabout,
Right.
press the gas.
All
Use
right,
the gas. Gas, 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 gas. Okay, okay, okay.
That's fun.
Easy now. Perfect.
Little
Very
bit of
slippery
drifting.
zone, huh?
Yeah, it's slippery, but it's fun though. It's in
Yeah.
control, yeah? It's nice, yeah. I can't see on the other side.
Straight ahead. Just
Right,
straight.
straight here, okay, here we are. Okay, so we're up the hill, we're on a flat bit, and we're going down. We're stopping.
the-
Oh, I see. We're doing a drag race in the sand. So it's
Acceleration.
dirt drag. Yeah.
Acceleration
Yeah.
test.
Okay.
So
full acceleration,
full gas
and
in
then
the yellow cones.
full till the yellow. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And then hard brakes.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna
Ready?
do an acceleration run on the gravel, and the dirt here. So let's do this, right?
Let's go.
So you're gonna give me a countdown?
Go.
Full
Go, 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 go,
acceleration.
go.
We're going up, and then braking on the red. There you go.
It works.
Yes? Yeah.
Nice.
Quite a lot of going on there with the electrics. You can feel it, but very effective. Very good. Thank you.
Uphill climbing. So let's put our left wheels
Yeah.
just on the wood.
On the wood here.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's very
we,
slippery wood.
Oh, I see. So we're upsetting the left side by putting it on a slippery
Stop
surface.
here.
Stop
Stop
here.
here.
Okay. Yeah.
We put some water and some butter on the
A
wood.
butter.
Yeah. Interesting.
Very good. Very good.
So this is a test.
Yeah.
And leave the brakes
Yeah.
and go smoothly to the gas, please.
Okay, so we got butter and water on the left side on a wooden platform, dirt gravel on the right to see how we grip on this. I'm gonna let go of the brakes and see if we can move forward. Yeah. Let's
go.
do this. All right, it's holding on the brake on this automatic brake, and you can see the system is working very slowly. It's working, but it's struggling.
Go, go, go,
Go. Okay. It's trying to. Oh, okay. So it's trying to find the grip. So you can just feel that it's trying to find the grip where it was, and it found the grip on the left, and you could just feel it pulling a little bit to the right, a little bit. Sorry, on the right, and that way it managed to get it over that bit where normally you would have just slid back, right?
Yep.
Very good, impressive.
Stop the car.
Yeah.
Press the descent button, please.
So we're now going to try hill descent control. Cool.
And leave your feet.
Yeah.
Don't touch.
Don't touch the brake
Anything.
pedal. Right.
Let's go.
Let's do this. Okay. So no brake pedal at all. We are relying that's like 45 degrees, 40 degrees.
Yeah, something like that.
Straight down. I didn't touch the brake. Your heart is like, oh my god, but it's like, it's okay, it's fine. The car handles it. So there you go. Hill descent works on the car. That's really good. Ah, now we got a bunch of logs.
Okay.
Right. So we're gonna
Stop
test the
car
ride.
here, please. Comfort test.
Yeah.
5 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Because the car is really working hard, but you know the ride on these are very good. This is on 20-inch wheels. This is the same wheels, 20-inch.
Yeah.
Big wheels, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. That's great. Done.
Done.
Excellent. Well
Easy.
done. Very good. Yeah, very easy. There you go. So if you need to do some mild off-roading, if you find yourself in slippery circumstances or where the road is going up and down and stuff like that, you can be assured that the X-Trail will get you through that. Okay, so overall, what do I think of the car? I think it's, you know what? I think it's a really good move to take it back to its roots a little bit. This feels more X-Trail than the previous X-Trail did, if you see what I mean. It looks the part, feels the part. That is to say that, you know, if you remember the first gen X-Trail, that was actually really popular amongst people that actually use the advantages or the benefits of the four-wheel drive system. They would take it off-road. You could take it off-road. And I think that this is an attempt to go back to that, and certainly to go back to that sort of personality and that sort of character that car had, truer to the X-Trail badge. And I think that with such a broad range of SUVs that are in the Nissan lineup, it makes sense to kind of give them individual identities rather than making them look all similar, which is kind of what they were doing before. So I think this is a very good move on the part of Nissan. I think they're going in the right direction, and it puts you in a clear idea of what it is that you're getting and what it is that you're going for. Anyway, that's what I think. Thumbs up for me. Pretty good. Bit on the expensive side. Do you need the E-Force? If you're urban dwelling, you probably won't. You're better off spending the grand extra on the seats, saving the $2.5 or so grand on the E-Force. But if you like to do a little bit off-roading, or you like the reassurance of that added grip, then why not go for it? But you're looking at a substantial outlay. Anyway, that's what I think. Let me know what you think of the car, and I'll see you all in the next review. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these 3 little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.